So we're going to reconvene, still go through our regular course of business. We still will have budget tomorrow, but, if we sit here and wait on the system being rebooted, and we could be here even longer. We have audio? No video? Okay, so they can hear us but can't see us. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here we go. So we are resuming our May 2nd Memphis City Council meeting. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our MLG&W fiscal consent agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will do so momentarily. I'm setting up the roll call again, Mr. Chairman. One moment, please.
Okay.
If we could move the contract amount to $500,000, I just want to say that this would have been good.
Thank you for your patience, Mr. Chairman. Item number 9 on our MLGW fiscal consent is a resolution awarding a purchase order to engineered ceiling components for electric smart meters in the amount of $1,052,702.16. Item number 10 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12352, Smith Driving to Smith System Incorporated to expand the contract scope and increase the current contract value in the funded amount of $202,000. Item number 11 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12188, Gas Leak Survey and Heath Consultants, Inc., to ratify and renew the current contract in the funded amount of $1,200,000. Item number 12 is a resolution awarding contract number 12401, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Water to Fisher and Arnold Incorporated in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 13 is a resolution awarding contract number 12400, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Gas to Barge Design Solutions Incorporated in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 14 is a resolution awarding contract number 12405, solicited under contract number 12346, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Water to Gresham Smith in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 15 is a resolution awarding contract number 12404, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Gas to Gresham Smith in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 16, resolution awarding contract number 12399, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Electric to Gresham Smith in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 17 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12053, local dial tone services with AT&T to renew the current contract in the funded amount of $172,735. Item number 18 is a resolution awarding contract number 12403, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Water to Allen and Hoschel Incorporated in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 19 is a resolution awarding contract number 12402, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Gas to Allen Hoschel Incorporated in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 20 is a resolution awarding contract number 12346, MLGW Utility Relocations for Street Improvement Project Electric to Allen and Hoschel Incorporated in the funded amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 21 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12286, MLGW Utility Payment Centers with First Tech Incorporated to renew the current contract in the funded amount of $297,009. Item number 22 is a resolution approving change number 4 to contract number 12060, DOT Drug and Alcohol Testing with Mid-South Drug Testing Incorporated to renew the current contract in the funded amount of $125,000. Item number 23 is a resolution approving the law firm of Glankler Brown, PCC, to be employed on an as-needed basis at the following hourly rates: partners, members, $300 to $350, associates, $225 to $300, and paralegal assistants, $175 to $220. Item number 24 is a resolution approving the law firm of Harris, Shelton, Hanover, Wash, PLC, to be employed on an as-needed basis at the following hourly rates: partners, members, $300 to $350, associates, $200 to $250. Item number 25 is a resolution approving change number 4 to contract number 12043, property and boiler insurance with FM Global to renew the current contract in the funded amount based on approved rates not to exceed $2,905,800 $827. Item number 26 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12238, electric substation construction and maintenance services with RMS Energy Company, LLC, to renew the current contract in the funded amount equal to approved contract licensing limits by Tennessee State Board for licensing contractors, not to exceed $10 million for this renewal period. Number 27 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Global Power Components for a switchgear in the amount of $1,999,712. Item number 28 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Automotive Tool Group for 3-phase bypass recloser switches in the amount of $1,388,400. Item number 29 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Dobbs Peterbilt for the purchase of 6-yard and 10-yard dump trucks in the amount of $463,674. Mr. Chairman, our last item is number 30, resolution awarding contract number 12409, trash removal services to BFI Waste Services, LLC, doing business as Republic Services of Memphis, in the funded amount of $348,232.32. Council members, that concludes our MLGW items.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Our MLGW fiscal consent agenda has been moved by Councilwoman Robinson, seconded by Councilman Canale. I don't see any members in the queue, but I do have a question for President McGowan. Probably so. Ms. McGowan, this is just a request that I would have. I see the law firms that were selected here. If I could just have a report of the legal span for the prior fiscal year, if you could provide that. That's all I request.
Sure. I don't have it today, but I'd be happy to get it to you. Is it okay to send a separate correspondence to everybody on the council? Yeah,
indeed.
Happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Seeing no other members speaking on this, wishing to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote? Sure. No. Yeah, it has me up here. This says this member is marked as absent. Okay. Council members, please cast your votes on the MLGW fiscal consent agenda and count me as a yes on this. Okay. Okay, Morgan, yes. Well, let me have her announce it first.
Roll call. Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Covette, yes. Logan, yes. Robinson, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Jones, yes. Smiley, yes. Ford, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Councilwoman Johnson, yes.
Okay, thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 38?
Item number 38 on our add-on agenda is a resolution amending Housing and Community Development FY23 federal budget by appropriating the expenditures and revenues for the 2022 Low-Income Housing Energy Assistance Program funding. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Community Development, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Covette.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay. That item has been moved by Councilman Covette, seconded by Councilwoman Robinson. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Covette, yes. Ford, yes. Logan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
Will you please show Councilman Ford and Councilwoman Johnson as yes votes on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will do so.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 31?
Item number 31 will take us to our appointments. The Memphis Landmarks Commission, we have an appointment for Michael Winter. To the Public Art Oversight Committee, we have an appointment, Kate Roberts. That concludes your appointments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Council Vice Chair of Personnel Johnson, will you, you're recognized on item number 31.
Committee met and we approved, and I so move.
Okay, thank you. That item has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, seconded by Vice Chair Smiley. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Okay, did that time.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 36?
Item number 36 is a resolution to amend the FY24 Memphis City Council Community Grant Program, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Chairman Jones.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay. That item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what we changed.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 32?
32 is an ordinance to amend Title 6, Chapter 92, to extend the sunset clause for the Equal Business Opportunity Program, up for third and final reading. Ordinance number 5866 is sponsored by the administration.
Thank you. Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. The committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter, Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 34?
Item number 34 is an ordinance renaming South 2nd Street between Beale Street and G.E. Patterson Avenue as Representative Barbara Cooper Street. Up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5846 is sponsored by the Memphis City Council. It was held from April 25th.
Thank you. Councilman Ford.
Thanks, Chairman. We're going to hold this again.
Okay.
but we got a new plan now. Okay. We're looking at something. I talked with some of the staff today. 2nd Street. 2nd Street goes to Chelsea Avenue, okay? Chelsea coming all the way back down to Calhoun, okay? Instead of changing the name of the street, we may just do an honorary. I'm checking into that, so 2 weeks from now when we meet, we should be all on the same accord.
Okay.
Also, all of that is her district, which she represented, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
if there's no objection? We will be holding item number 34 until our May 16th.
And I think that make everybody happy.
2 weeks, yes.
Yeah.
Till 2 weeks.
Then make the others happy. Good enough. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So item number 34 is going to be held for 2 weeks. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 35?
My pleasure. Item number 35 is an ordinance supplementing and amending the 2021 Memphis Municipal Code of Ordinances of the City of Memphis, Tennessee, relative to animals and horse-drawn carriages, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included herein, and providing when such amendments to the code and this ordinance shall become effective. Up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5843 is sponsored by the administration, and it was held from 425.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Swearingen-Washington, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chair. Our committee met this morning, and I would like to ask Director Pugh to please come forward and offer some insight of what was discussed and some changes that we discussed as well.
Good evening, Alexis Pugh, Director, Memphis Animal Services, operating at 2350 Appling City Cove. As discussed during committee this morning, we are offering some amended language to the first impoundment statute of the ordinances in 8-5-11. You should all have a revised copy in front of you. This is the only change being suggested at this time, and the changed language is as follows. If any dog is found running at large, abandoned, or subject to neglect, cruelty, or any of the conditions described in Section 8-5-3, or is not in compliance with any other provision of this chapter, an animal services officer shall have the authority to apprehend and impound such dog in the city animal shelter, and the owner notified if known. We did some research between last week and this week, and this language is in keeping with the overarching language discovery that I was able to find from both local municipalities, the Shelby County animal ordinances, as well as other cities around America that have similar demographics and sizes to Memphis.
Thank you. I appreciate all of the extensive research that you did in preparing this ordinance. Chair, I would like to make a motion that we accept the ordinance with the amended changes.
Okay. So, colleagues, is there a second to that? Second. Okay, that item has been moved and seconded as amended by Councilwoman Swearingen-Washington, seconded by Councilman Warren. I don't see any. Well, the amendment as amended. Yeah, as amended. So if there's no objection, that friendly amendment will be included. And seeing no council members in the queue to speak on this item, don't have. Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote? I'm sorry. I have three comment cards. Yes. So the first comment card, yes. So not asking for the vote on that yet. First comment card is from Susie Hollenbach, followed by Donna Fields, and Ms. Fields would be followed by Mr. Gilbert Carter. Ms. Hollenbach, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak on this item, and please provide your name and home address for the record.
Hello again, I'm Susie Hollenbach, and I run a community outreach program in the underserved areas of Memphis. We respectfully ask why the vote was moved from the 16th. I've happened upon this by chance. I was at a lunch meeting and heard that we're voting on this today. It appears there are no other advocates here like there were last week, because if you watch the video from last week, Councilwoman Logan at 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 20 seconds asked for a delay until May 16th. Councilman Carlisle then asked that it go back to committee to separate the carriage horses and stray issues. This was seconded and so moved. The separation did not occur today, nor were the words horse or carriage mentioned. Animal advocates are still not aware of the new language presented in committee today. This is not transparent government, and the community residents and advocates have yet again been left out of the process. To my knowledge, there has been no outreach to the animal community. Have council members, as suggested in last week's meeting, been made aware of any community meetings since then to discuss this issue? I was here at council, I was not contacted, and I'm a predominant leader in the animal welfare community. Residents deserve transparency and respect. Residents are also not trained to handle the neighborhood strays, nor are they paid to do so. We pay taxes for our municipal shelter to do this job. We respectfully ask to be involved in this process and urge you to delay this vote until it can be done legally.
Chair. Martavis.
Thank you, Ms. Holdenbach.
Yeah.
Councilman Carlisle.
Yeah, and that's honestly just an error. If that was the motion, I have no problem holding this till the 16th. I don't think anybody else does. I mean, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
and then,
Councilmember Johnson.
Then it just ended up, we rarely meet back-to-back weeks. Like, this is a rare thing that we would go one week versus the other, so it was probably just an oversight. The hope, too, is if we separate them was if we couldn't come to an accord on, everyone's comfortable with the horse carriage language. I think we're trying to figure out the stray language. And the point was if we couldn't come to an accord that we would just go ahead and pass the horse carriage language and work on the stray language. Honestly, I was under the assumption that it was worked out. It does, and I'm seeing it's not. So we'll hold this to the 16th. I have no problem. I don't think anybody else does either.
Okay, so that item will be held until the 16th, but we'll still hear from members of the public who came to speak on this item today. Ms. Fields.
Thank you. Excuse me, I've called. I'm sort of here almost as a neutral.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name's Donna Fields, and I live at 490 South Holmes Street in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thank you.
And I want you all to understand I'm here as an individual, not as any job or any position I have in this city. I am a very proud and loving dog owner. And I will admit that sometimes people see me running down the street chasing my dogs who got out because somebody left the door open. But my position is this dog pound, because that's what started at the base of the Austin Street Bridge. Some of you are old enough to remember, I'm a lifelong Memphian, and my family would go down there and we'd get a dog. And then when that one got old and died, we would get another one. The purpose of that place was dog catching. That is the purpose of Memphis Animal Services. If the problem is they don't have enough employees and enough space, then the city has an obligation to provide employees and space for them simply because more and more and more households have companion animals that are family members now. And if a dog comes in with a collar on who's not identified adequately, and they keep them 72 hours and then kill them on the next day, I have a problem with that. But I understand realistically, Ms. Pugh has done some wonderful things with Memphis Animal Services, but this is not right. Your minister said when we first started, do the right thing. There are people who are calling me in my position with the Attorney General's office saying, I'm told you're there to take care of some of this stuff, and these dogs are harassing me. They're scaring me to death. I won't go to my garbage can. I run into my house after work, and it's the same pack. And they call Mass, and of course Mass can't find the pack. But there are people being injured and some killed by these packs that are running free. I stood on my front porch and watched a pack of 3 that have been in and out of our neighborhood for 5 years break through a screened-in porch and kill a beloved cat of my neighbor. They dragged it out into the yard and tore it up and then left it. They didn't eat it. So not only was she traumatized, everyone who was her neighbor was traumatized. That's what packed dogs do. They get into a hunting mode, and that's what they're going to do. I asked Mr. Wade, we talked just a moment ago.
Ms. Fields, we need you to conclude your comments. Your time expired.
I'm sorry.
We need you to conclude your comments. Your time expired several seconds ago.
Have any of y'all considered the city of Memphis and the council being sued for, number one, lack of notice? I've yet to see any notice
other than Ms. Alexis Pugh's notice on Facebook. There's been no notice, public notice, as I understand public notice should be. So I think the council needs to carefully do what you're doing. Nobody knew about the first and second reading. Nobody with the rescue community. So I think that there are lots of places where you all are exposed. And I'll leave it with that, but for the practical thing. But as far as the dogs.
Ms. Fields, thank you for your comments. Our next comment is from Mr. Gilbert Barnes Carter.
Good evening. Gilbert Barnes Carter III, 37 West Waldorf Avenue, Memphis, 38109. I want to first thank you all for deciding to delay this vote until the 16th. I can appreciate any amount of resident-driven input on any issue in our city, so first allow me to thank you all for that. I do have a concern with regard to the language in the ordinance around horse-drawn carriages. It's my understanding that party buses or the like are included under that designation for horse-drawn carriages. So my main concern is, one, if party buses are done away with, will that have a negative net impact on the two black-owned businesses in this city who own party bus companies? That's my main concern with this. And based on the language as it stands in the ordinance right now, as it's written, if someone can enlighten me, if party buses are not included under that designated horse-drawn carriages, I'll be more than happy to be enlightened today. But again, as it stands, that's my concern. Again, thank you for hearing us out. Thank you for delaying the vote. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Carter. I think that Councilman Vice Chair Smiley would like for Mr. Wade to provide clarification.
So Attorney Wade, Mr. Carter asked a specific question about the ordinance that, particularly as it deals with horse-drawn carriages. Go ahead. Not.
Party buses, not.
Not included. Okay.
Not included, gotcha.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the last comment card that we have on this item. This item will be held for 2 weeks, and we'll take this item up at our May 16th meeting. Madam Comptroller, will you please call? Oh, that takes us to our same night minutes. 33 was held. To the next meeting. So, you, sir, same night minutes.
There are a lot of same night minutes tonight. Same night minutes, item number 38, and I so move.
Okay, our same night minutes have been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
Okay, our same night minute items have been approved. That brings us to our comment cards. We have several here, but our first comment card is from Mr. Mel Atkins.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Mel Atkins, 62 North Main Street. I was talking about ordinance number 7 of the police impound. If you look at number 7, you're taking the police impound and you're giving it to a private lots. Those lots that you're talking about putting private on, I need you to just really hear me on this. You're putting impound on private lots. The car thieves is already knowing what y'all about to do. So as soon as your guys open up private lots, they're already going to target the lots. They're already stealing cars off of the impound lot, and they're cutting the back gates and the fences. So if the city employees with the impound lots with the MPD is already conjunction of the hot cars called the SPAC cars, the Chargers, any cars that your guys are they're actually impounding, they actually knowing the VIN number and they stealing them right out the impound lot from the city lot right now. So if you put them on private lots, there is no extra padded security or no cameras that can stop them. So if you put them on private lots, you're actually increasing the more auto theft. Even after your guys, after MPD impound the person car, they can re-steal them right back off the private lot. So I appreciate if y'all guys can have an open mind about the private lots compared to the MPD lots. You need to have orders of security at the private lots so they won't re-steal the same vehicle and use them for crimes that's out in the urban community. I'm letting your guys know because it's already out that your guys see, the truckers and tow guys are in on it. So when the tow guys have the unmarked tow truck cars, they already know which cars they're going to target. So as soon as the MPD impound them, they steal them right back out the lot. So please, have an open mind, not just your vehicle, but they re-stealing the same vehicle and recommitting the same crime with the same vehicle from the MPD lot to the private lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment card is from Vincent Spriggs. Vincent Spriggs, the third. Oh, okay.
Mr. Spriggs gonna be on it. Mr. Spriggs, the floor is yours. Name and address for the record.
440 North Mandela Street. Hello, my name is Vincent Spriggs III. I have a question. Why are you giving money to police officers? We want to get rid of the crime, but they are making the crime. Just think about it. Thank you.
Amber Sherman. Next come in, Amber Sherman. Name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Amber Sherman. My address is 6070 North Belgrove Cove, Memphis, Tennessee. I'm here today to voice total opposition to giving police more funding. They have shown time and time again that no amount of funding will keep them from killing people, from brutalizing people, or help them decrease crime. They are not effective and have only continued to cause more irreparable harm in our city. Councilman Chase Carlisle has acknowledged that he knows public transportation, affordable housing, and access to public parks impacts public safety, but is unwilling to give them the same amount of funding as police, and that's the problem. This body knows the solutions and is actively pushing against them. Policing is the only job that you can be failing at miserably and still have elected officials proposing a raise for you. This is immoral. This past Sunday, a high school kid was pulled over with his friends for a cracked window shield on a car that he wasn't even driving. He was beaten severely by police, resulting in a front tooth being knocked out, a broken nose, fractures in his face, and causing life-altering trauma. We asked y'all to include the most common types of pretextual stops in the driving equality ordinance when it was originally introduced, which would have included cracked or broken windshields. But Councilwoman Easter Thomas said no. And once again, we told you something like this would happen, and I'm tired of being right at the expense of Black people. Fund our communities, not the police.
Yes.
Next coming card by L.J. Abraham. Ms. Abraham, name and address for the record.
199 South McLean Boulevard. I'm here kind of just to reiterate off of what everybody else has been saying. There was a proposed budget of $30 million to add to policing, and then Strickland came up with an additional $42 million that, is broken down into different sectors, but we are not taking into consideration, or our city council members and our county commission is not taking into consideration where those funds could actually go to reduce crime in our cities. Like, it's literally like something that we could look at and put onto paper and hand it to you, and it would make common sense as to where those funds can go as opposed to policing. Police do not prevent crime. If they did, why do we still have it? I mean, it's nonsensical to think about the fact that we spend all of this money. 40% of our city's budget goes to policing, and our crime rate is still astronomical. So if police were there to prevent crime, then we would not have a crime problem. Yet we have a crime problem. But every time we turn around, there's conversations around adding more money to funding for police officers. They kill people, we've seen that. They beat people, we've seen that. They beat people up. We just seen that recently. So I think that it's important for y'all to kind of take into consideration that the budget will probably be more useful towards education, mental health resources, community centers, just resources that Black communities need and are lacking, and that would probably prevent a lot of the crime that we have with our children. Creating new units to prevent minors from committing crimes is literally like not going to help either. It's not going to change anything. The parents at the end of the day are going to be the ones that make the decision how long their children are going to be outside. And then taking them and dumping them off at a community center that is not even being used in the way that it's supposed to be used for children now makes even less common sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm asking y'all to reconsider the city's budget when it comes up. I know you guys started working on May 1st. And just take into consideration the things that the community is coming to ask y'all for, because we really mean it. And we don't want to keep having to show up here and give y'all a hard time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abraham. Our next speaker is Luchi Charm.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Luchi Charm, 3160 Spotswood, 3101. My video capabilities on TikTok are intact. If y'all need some help at the next meeting, I can cover y'all on the audio-visual aspect of things. So these general comments, you know, I came here tonight with the intention of congratulating this council. You guys, I felt like you listened to us. You know, y'all know I'm not from Memphis. I've spent a lot of time in a lot of city council chambers across the country, and I've never seen city council meetings that are run like the ones that I've seen this year. And it's not a bad thing. Chairman, I know that you have taken criticism over the lack of decorum at times in this building, but what you have here, what you have had, is a city full of people who care about their neighbors. And that's not a bad thing. Chairman, that's not a bad thing. And so I came here tonight to congratulate you for listening to us. We had some harsh words for a lot of you, and most of you took them. You heard the community, you saw that we were hurt, we were angry, and as the leaders in this community, a lot of you on this side of the table took that on. And I came here to say that I appreciate that, and then I pulled my comment card. And the comment card is just full of fascist rhetoric about how we can't come out here and care about our neighbors, about how we can't care about the fact that we just spent 3 months, a whole lot of emotion, not one person. Okay, full transparency, I made $1.37 on TikTok Lives, so I got paid $1.37. But the rest of us aren't making money out here. We're here because we care about our community. And y'all are trying to shut us down. Y'all are trying to tell us it's a bad thing to be here emotional because y'all are murdering our children. We got these ordinances passed, and then look what the fuck, look what MPD just did. This little boy, senior in high school, getting ready to go to prom, can't take his prom pictures because his tooth is busted out, because his lip is busted, because his nose is broken, because MPD, they're not here now. They got what they wanted. They wanted to continue to harass Memphis over cracked windshields. Y'all can't sit up here and let them. I know Jim Strickland's on his way out with his bullshit budget, and I know I'm probably going to get kicked out after saying that word. I know my time's up. Jim Strickland's time's up. And this bullshit administration's time's up.
Ms. Lucci, Ms. Charm, thank you. Our next comment card is from Mr. Gilbert Barnes Carter.
Gilbert Barnes Carter III, 37 West Waldorf Avenue, Memphis, 38109. I'll be very brief, but very direct. I again stand in complete solidarity with all of my allies and comrades who fight so hard and so tirelessly in the city in which we all love. I become deeply disappointed in the fact that evidently the so-called police department here in this city still intends to carry out the most aggressive methods of brutalization, coercion, occupation, and oppression, most recently in the form of 18-year-old Cortavius Claxton being beaten during another pretextual traffic stop. We demand that the driving equality ordinance be amended and expeditiously, adding cracked windshields and cracked windows. I personally stand in complete opposition against the so-called juvenile crime abatement program. I refuse to stand by and not speak on the fact that AutoZone brass, based on the leaked information from MPD's initial presentation of this program, we're going to conspire, we're going to be complicit with so-called MPD brass and have a plainclothes officer, which we have also been vehemently against, placed at a perch, if you will, to carry out covert and illegal surveillance, but not adults, but school children. Shame on AutoZone. As always, and forever, shame on the so-called MPD. I do not stand for it. We do not stand for it. We will not allow for the most valuable and precious resources in this city and all across this country and on this planet to be marginalized and criminalized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Our next comment is, Vice Chair Smiley.
What's the young man's name and when did it happen?
Councilperson Smiley, the young man's name is 18-year-old Cortavius Claxton. He's a senior in high school. Yeah. If my memory serves me correctly, it occurred on Tuesday, April 23rd or 25th. Excuse me, Sunday, April 23rd, if I stand corrected. Sunday, April 23rd.
Do we know the reason to stop? Is it a police report associated with it? Is there a police report?
Councilperson Smiley, excuse me, Councilperson Smiley, as MPD does, they lie collectively, individually. Ms. Yolanda Claxton, the young man's mother, has the initial report that she received on the scene. Evidently, a Sergeant Brownlee out of the Fraser precinct provided her with a completely different report in which evidently brass out of that precinct doctored, if you will, the information. So on one hand, we have the initial report that Ms. Claxton and myself have. On the other hand, we have a doctored report. So I wanted to add that piece of information as well. Are there any further questions?
It's all the questions for me. We're going to do, I'm going to do, I think I'm speaking to the mic. Mike don't like me today. I think what I'm going to do, I think I've instructed my team to get their hands on the police report, and we'll make and the body cam footage. Oh yeah, we can do that now. Shout out to y'all who voted for the ordinance. Get our hand on the body cam footage and the police report, and then we'll have our chief security officer and our attorney take a look at it, and we'll go from there. But thank you all for bringing this to our attention. Indeed. Because I don't think, speak for myself, I'm not sure if any member of this body, if you can look at the puzzled faces of this council, I don't think we're aware of it. And, that's why I tell people what makes our body work well is when we have active participation from the public. And thank you all who are coming to advocate on behalf of revisions to the animal services ordinance as well. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment card is from Ms. Beth Hoffberg.
Beth Hoffberg, 717 South Riverside Drive, Memphis 38103. You actually just addressed some of what I wanted to talk about, so I appreciate that you're going to take that action. What I would like to echo, because I did want to talk about Cortavius Claxton, and while he is 18, he is literally a senior in high school. He wants to go to prom on May 12th, and now he does not want to go. The evidence that I've personally read, it shows, again, disparities in the police's story. We just saw how that happened. It was 100 days after Tyree was beaten. It was after the city was had a lawsuit filed against it for $550 million. It was after the pretextual ordinance was passed. So what this also shows is that we do need to do additional work, and this body has shown that you are willing to do that, and so I would ask you to continue to do that, especially around the pretextual ordinance. Apparently, because we did not spell out to MPD that a cracked windshield would fall into that category, even though missing a bumper would. That was apparently not obvious enough to them that a little crack in the windshield shouldn't be a reason to pull over for kids. So we need to add that, and we're probably going to need to add more things, because unless you specifically tell MPD how to do their jobs, they're going to do it the way that they've been trained to do it, which is clearly not in the best interest of the community. So I also ask you to consider how to fund the police, and whether actually adding $42 million to the policing budget is going to make the community safe. Just because that's what has been asked for doesn't mean that that's what needs to be given. There are so many other ways that we can feel safe, whether that is making sure that people have access to food, if they have access to transportation, if they have access to mental health services, if they have access to education. That is not currently the state in Memphis, and it is something that you all have in your power to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffberg. Next comment card is Mr. Charles Todd present?
Yes.
Mr. Todd, I'm going to need you to provide your name and address for the, you didn't write it on the card, so if you would speak slowly and give me your name and address so I can put it on the card here for our records.
Charles Todd.
Yes, sir.
787 Alice Avenue.
Is that 38106?
38106.
Okay.
I have a museum right there at Mississippi and Walker.
Thank you.
And I have called several times to the council about the People's Store. When you take out all of the historical in our community, that takes the tourists away from our community. And the business people cannot grow. And you move those signs in areas that you want to put them in. Now, the People's Store was where 3 men was killed and drugged down Bill Street.
Mm-hmm.
And those signs been taken down almost 2 years. They said they have repaired those signs, but they have not put those signs back up in order to correct. I have been by Mr. Ford's office. I have called several people to discuss the historical place that being taken out of our community. When you take out all of the community signs, historical place, our community cannot grow. And y'all are not putting our historical events back in our community. And I would like to know that sign been taken down almost 2 years. It don't take 2 or 3 years to put a historical sign back up. And they were drugged down Bill Street. It seems like you want to put them back down in town where the town is growing. But we need our historical sign back in our community.
Mr. Todd, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I have colleagues that want to speak on this item. Before you take your seat back, I have Councilman Ford and Vice Chair Smiley. I'm sorry. We have, before you take your seat, we have a couple of council members that want to ask you some questions or make some comments before you take your seat. So Councilman Ford, followed by Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, my office was supposed to be checking on that sign. I don't know what the outcome was, but she's gonna come back down and make sure we get all your information again. But I remember talking to you about this sign. That said Mississippi and Walker.
Mississippi, yeah.
Yeah.
Right at People's Grocery, right by the four-way grill, right, Mr. Todd?
Yeah,
okay.
right by the four-way grill.
This is a, I wasn't aware that there's a historical marker.
Yes.
That talked about, that was the beginning of the Memphis massacre.
Supposed to be putting back up, they took it
right.
down.
Okay. So, Councilman Warren was saying that they did some street work around there, but it still, to your point, Mr. Todd, it shouldn't take 2 years for us to put that back up. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. Vice Chair Smiley. Well, but this could very well be I don't know whether it was a state marker versus a city, so.
I mean, I would hope, yeah.
I mean, I'm just befuddled that we're sitting here because we don't have a relationship, whether it's Tennessee Historical Commission or not, that we've got the 13 of us sitting in here, 12 of us sitting in here, and there's not a single senior leader from the administration in this chamber. Budget season is going to be awesome.
All right. We don't have Mr. Walter Brody here, and that was the last of my comment cards. So we're gonna track that. Yeah, we will. Yeah. No, what? That's probably. So, colleagues, I'll entertain a motion, but before I do, remember we have budget tomorrow at 3:30. Unless is there any other council member want to have any remarks, make any statements?
Yeah. So, colleagues, we've talked a little bit about tweaking how we're doing the hearings. I talked with Chairman Jones, since he's been budget chairman twice, and Councilman Morgan. Yesterday, we're gonna tweak it. You'll get new schedules. It's not really gonna change all the times, but specifically to city grantees or city agencies like CCRFC, which would be non-traditional, but also the executive division budget, where we had Councilwoman Easter Thomas wanted to hear from 311 or Community Affairs. Brianna's going to send an email. If there's an agency that is not on the schedule that you want to hear, please let us know. We will get them on there. If there is something that's just not on the schedule that you want to talk about for 30 minutes in the budget hearings that has nothing to do with the administration or department or service center, let Brianna know. We will find a way to get it on the schedule. So, like, if we want to talk about Hospitality Hub for 30 minutes, like in funding or council initiatives, please send those things that you want to talk about CIP-wise or operating-wise, and we will find time on the budget schedule. But please do it soon so we can get it squared away. We've got time on the heel of the budget hearings to do that. But be on a lookout. I really want to be able to give the administration a fair heads up, especially in those departments that aren't used to presenting, that we're trying to hear from, like Community Affairs or 311, et cetera. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, no objection. This meeting is adjourned.